Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. Well, I've been doing a lot of videos recently about knowledge and conversation with Holy Guardian Angel. Just what is that mystical experience that is so important to Western esotericism? What's it like to experience that? What are some of the methods that we can use to attain knowledge and conversation? And what is the angel? And following on from that, now I'm going to be doing another video talking about once you have attained this state of knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel, what next? What are you supposed to do with that experience? Based on my own personal experiences and a careful study of the magical and initiatory system of the AA, which incorporates knowledge and conversation with a bunch of other practices at various stages of the initiate's spiritual development, I've been able to piece together what I believe the immediate task is for the aspirant who has just attained knowledge and conversation. So I attained knowledge and conversation with my Holy Guardian Angel in 2013 as a result of doing the ritual in Libet Samek for 6 months. And it was incredible when I experienced that breakthrough in my spiritual life. And I'll link in the description below my videos giving the account of that experience. But unfortunately, the elation of knowledge and conversation faded all too quickly, and normal life resumed. And in the years that followed, particularly 2014 to 2016, I was going through a long dark night of the soul again. I was going through some really dark, heavy periods, spiritually speaking, in my life. And it was as though the light of the angel that I'd successfully conjured simply faded from view. And it took me a while to do the work to get back to that feeling that I'd felt when I attained knowledge and conversation, and to really transform my life in a positive way as a consequence of that experience. And it took me years more to even comprehend what had happened to me, to fully appreciate the consequences of having fused with the angel and experienced life from the point of view of divinity. And what I failed to realize most of all was that it's not enough to simply attain knowledge and conversation. Once you have that experience, you're supposed to do more with it, or it will fade away. And in fact, in the revelations that the angel gave me during the Samek period that I was engaged in 2013, it told me exactly what to do to deepen the spiritual development that begins with knowledge and conversation. But I was still not open, not receptive enough to that information, and took it for granted. But as always, when an angel communicates something to me and I don't see the point of it, years later, I came around and realized that it was right, and it was a profound wisdom that I was given, and I began to appreciate exactly what I was supposed to have done once I had achieved knowledge and conversation, instead of losing sight of the experience within a few months of attaining it. The best way for me to explain the experience of knowledge and conversation and the before and after of that experience is with the analogy of a campfire. So if you want to light a campfire, the first thing you need to do is create enough kindling, have enough wood as well that can catch fire. The next thing you need is a spark. The friction that ignites the spark is the working to attain knowledge and conversation, and knowledge and conversation itself is the spark of divine consciousness, of suddenly becoming aware of your innermost nature. So this is the spark, this is the fire that is produced. But the fire of the angel, it must be encouraged to grow into a roaring fire. And if this is not done, then the flame could catch for a while and then just reduce to a smolder, as it did in my spiritual life. Worse still, it may even go out, although something as powerful as experiencing knowledge and conversation is very difficult to extinguish. So you need to nurture the flame, and you need to encourage it and watch it, and be vigilant in watching it, and do what's needed to be done to help it to grow into a fire. And that is the work that follows knowledge and conversation. You're continuing the line of communication with the angel. You're keeping that open, perhaps not in quite a involved fashion as before, but you want to remember that state of consciousness that you were able to achieve. And really the work after knowledge and conversation is comprised of two main things. The first component is being able to constantly bring yourself back to the state of consciousness that you experienced during knowledge and conversation. And the second part of this is simply acknowledging that once we have attained the angel, we are changed, and there's implications that flow on from that in terms of the way that we live the rest of our life. And so we need to start to take steps to transform our life in a way that reflects the newfound insight that we've had into our true nature and what we're supposed to be doing in life. So that is the work following knowledge and conversation in a nutshell. So I'll talk about the first point first. And if this video goes for too long, I will save an explanation of the second point for a second video to go more into depth in that. So regarding the first point, what can we do to make sure that we can keep in constant communication with the angel after knowledge and conversation, and not let that profound experience slip through our fingers back into the ether? How are we supposed to keep the friendship with the angel alive? Because this is really, in this first task, what we're trying to do. If you've got somebody who is a good friend of yours and you want to keep the friendship going, the worst thing you can do is do what I do and just not contact someone for months, and then contact them again out of the blue to strike up the same friendship again. Some people are cool with that, other people not so much. But the point is, if you're trying to build a relationship with another human being, and you want that relationship to be strong and really deep, then you need to keep in constant contact with that person. Always make contact with them, see how they're going, arrange to see them, have conversations with them, and so forth. And it's the same with the angel. In order to keep the relationship with the angel alive, you need to be constantly in contact with it. Now, how are we to do that? Well, in summary, what you're trying to do really is practice a kind of presence. But it's not simply presence of ordinary consciousness. It's a presence where we are aware of the presence of the angel as well. So then, why don't we just read Eckhart Tolle and adopt the sort of practice of presence that a lot of people do now? Well, it's not quite that simple. As much merit as there is in that kind of a practice, what we're talking about here is slightly different. So the distinction is this. If you're practicing presence, let's say, if you're practicing going into consciousness and living from the consciousness, you might practice that sort of presence on the bus, for example. And then what you're doing is you're becoming aware that you're on the bus, that you're present on the bus in your human body, and you're not thinking about anything. You're being present, you're being still, but your state of being is very much human. Whereas what we're trying to do in this practice of remembrance of the angel is, rather than affirming that we are simply consciousness and then going into consciousness, we're going even deeper. We're going behind even what consciousness is, to the divine principle that lies behind that, the principle of Atman. And we're going into that, and we're invoking that, and then we are practicing presence from the perspective of that. We want to make that sort of experience immersive, whether it's closing our eyes, being in a quiet space, getting in the zone where we can immerse ourselves in the feeling of being divine consciousness, not simply human consciousness, such as we experienced when we experienced knowledge and conversation. And that is what we're doing in remembering the angel and practicing awareness in the angel. And it's very important to do this afterwards, because you have the experience of the angel during knowledge and conversation, but it's just one experience among the myriad experiences that you have during your life. The rest of life, you'll have experiences that are brought on by some interaction with the world of samsara, that probably create karma, and then that is the experience that you build your identity around. And there are so many distractions and so many forces pulling us in life that it's only a matter of time before the world overwhelms the experience of knowledge and conversation, and it's diluted by the subsequent experiences that we have. That's why it's so important to habitually try and recollect the experience of the angel and of union with the angel through this practice of presence in the angel that I've described. And as we do that, we will start to create a new cluster of experiences that we can build a sense of identity around, which is based in our divine identity, ultimately. And then as time goes on, we might even be able to habitually recollect the divine levels of consciousness that we've been entering into with this practice of presence in the angel. But I hope that my explanation here today has given you a sense of the core of what the practice should be, whatever you do to habitually abide in the presence of the angel. So I'm going to leave it there for now, but in part 2, I'll talk about that second aspect of the work after knowledge and conversation that I mentioned in this video. So stay tuned for that. If you've got comments, your own opinions regarding this issue, please leave those comments down below. If you enjoy what I'm doing on this channel and you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. Otherwise, thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time.